discuss, Git is a distributed version control system. We have already discussed the architecture of distributed version control systems. Now let us talk about the architecture of Git in particular. This is the architectural diagram of Git. In Git we have two repositories, local repository and a remote repository. Remote repository is also called as central server, where all the project code is kept. And we create a local repository in our local workstation. Every individual user will have their own workstation. So local repository resides on the local workstation. Now from remote we get a copy of a local repository using git clone or git pull commands. What is the difference between git clone and git pull? We'll talk about as we go by. So initially we'll get a copy from the remote, which is nothing but a local repository. Again, we don't work directly on local repository. There is something called working directory where the actual work happens. Means it's like another directory or a folder where we create our project files. And once we create the project files, we need to first add them to a staging area or index area. This is called a virtual layer between working directory and local repository. So first we should add the files, add the project work to the staging area. From staging area we have to commit the changes to local repository. Till here they are confined only to individual user workstation. Only once we push the changes to remote, they are available for others. Till then they are confined only to that particular user. So this is a local repository where we commit the changes. So indexing area or a staging area is like a layer between working directory and local repository. So just creating a file means it is said to be in working directory. We need to run the command git add the file names to add them to staging area. And from staging area we can commit to the local repository. We cannot add the files directly from working directory to local repository. This is not possible. First we need to add them to staging area, then only we have to we can move them to local repository. Staging area is like a indexing or a virtual layer between working directory and local repository. Like if we consider moving our changes to local repository is like a two-step process. First we need to add to the staging area, then we have to commit the changes to local repository. There are many advantages with this kind of implementation. We'll talk about the importance of staging area once we do our hands-on. Now coming here, working directory, local repository, these two are physically the same. They are same directories on our workstation. Whereas logically different. Means just created, let's suppose we have created a file. It will be said to be in working directory unless you add and commit. Once you add the file, it goes into staging area. From staging area, we can commit the changes to local. Once we have our changes in our local repository, we can push them to remote so that it is available for everyone else in the team. So this is how Git works. Let us start creating our local repository. Local repository can be created in different ways. We can get a copy from the remote, or else initially, let's suppose it is a new project. There is nothing on remote. So we can create our project on our local repository. Then once the project is ready, we can push to remote. So first let us create a local repository in our workstation. Considering it's a new project, there is nothing on remote. So first we'll create a local repository, then we'll create some files, then we'll learn pushing them to remote. Let's see. This is an instance on GCP, which is a CentOS instance. Now let us first install Git. If we run git command, we can see that Git not found, meaning Git is not there. Let us install Git. Git can be installed very easily using a single command, yum install git -y. Git is installed. Now if I run git command, it shows lot of verbose, means Git is installed.